Want to know everything about farm animals in Medieval Dynasty? Then look no further. Animal husbandry, or animal breeders specifically, is the profession associated with all farming animals. As you build your animal husbandry up throughout your playthrough, you will continue to unlock new farming animals that will contribute to your village in many useful ways. We're going to go over all of the animals obtainable in Medieval Dynasty, starting with the lowest tech to the highest tech. And make sure to stay to the end of the video for some of the best animal tips in Medieval Dynasty. Now let's get started. The main thing that's going to be required to keep all of your animals happy and alive is going to be animal feed. Animal feed can be placed in feeding troughs by you and your animal breeder villagers, which in turn will allow them to produce various types of resources. The recipe for animal feed is unlocked at 100 farming tech and crafted in the barn using 1 rye grain, 1 oat grain, and 5 straw. But if you so desire, you can also buy animal feed from many of the village vendors across the valley. Assuming you have animal feed in your resource storage, animal breeders can be assigned to animal pens, which will automatically fill troughs with the animal feed, as well as passively produce resources faster than if you pick them up manually. With that in mind, let's get into the first farming animal, starting with chickens. Chickens are unlocked at 50 farming tech, and can be purchased in Barrowo or Rolnica once you have built a henhouse. Production-wise, chickens are the best choice if you're looking to farm eggs, and while they do produce some feathers, there's a better option to get feathers. Mature chickens cost 1125 coins, while chicks cost 562. Chicks mature after 2 seasons and have a lifespan of 5 to 6.25 years. Next animal unlocked is pigs. Pigs are unlocked at 100 tech points and can be purchased in Rolnica once you have built a pigsty, for 2250 coins as adults and 1125 for piglets. The only thing that pigs produce for your village is manure, which can be turned into fertilizer in a barn. If you are farming a lot, or want to start farming, odds are you're going to need a lot of fertilizer, and pigs will be your best bet when it comes to farming manure for fertilizer. Not much else to say about pigs. Piglets mature at the age of 1 and have an average lifespan of 15 to 18 years. Next we have donkeys, your first obtainable mount. Donkeys are unlocked at 250 tech points and can be purchased in Tutkey once you've built a donkey shelter, for 3750 coins as adults and 2625 coins for foals. Donkeys are a faster method than walking when traveling the valley, and combined with saddlebags, they have a better carry capacity than horses, although slower in speed. In order to ride a donkey, you're going to need to buy a saddle and equip it onto your mount. You can also increase mount carry capacity if you take the carrot and stick feat, or increase their movement speed by taking the Night Rider feat, both in the farming skill tree. Donkeys don't passively produce any resources, but they will leave manure on the ground in the donkey shelter that you can pick up. Foals mature after a year and a half and have an average span of 25 to 32 years. Remember how I said there was a better option to farm feathers that wasn't from chickens? Well, geese is that better option. Geese are unlocked at 500 tech points and can be purchased in Gestovia after building a goose house, costing 1500 coins for adults and 750 for goslings. Similar to chickens, geese produce both eggs and feathers, but they produce 4 times the feathers. Eggs, on the other hand, are produced at about half the rate of chickens, so my recommendation is to set your chickens to only produce eggs, and geese maybe 50-50 on the feather and eggs. Goslings mature after 2 seasons and have an average span of 10 to 13 years. Horses are unlocked after a whopping 2000 tech points and can be purchased in Hornica after building a stable, costing about 10,500 coins for adults or 5,250 for a foal. Horse traits are almost identical to donkeys aside from a few things. First being that they are much faster than donkeys. Their main downside is that they can't hold as much as a donkey, so you may still want to use your donkey for resource gathering runs. I forgot to mention in the donkey section, but there is another feat called the Village Whistleblower in the farming skill tree that allows you to call the last mount you mounted from anywhere in the valley. As I said for traits, lifespan and manual manure retrieval are all the same as the donkey. At 2500 tech points, you unlock the fold and the ability to buy 2 different animals, sheep and goats. I recommend having 2 separate folds if you'd like to acquire both, so you don't have both animals fighting for the same space. Sheep can be purchased in Branica and cost 3900 coins for adults and 1950 for lambs. Sheep are very valuable because you're able to harvest wool off of them, so long as you have shears which can be made in the smithy. Using the sewing hut, you can produce wool into many different types of clothing, which can be sold at a high price. Wool is also a required resource if you want to build the nicer street lamps in the game, so there are some good uses for wool on top of just selling it at a high price. Lambs mature after 1 season and have a lifespan of 10 to 13 years. Goats can be purchased in Denica, costing you 3,000 coins for adults and 1,500 coins for goatlings. Goats produce milk so long as you have buckets, which can be used for food and some cooking recipes in the kitchen. Goats mature after 1 year and have an average span of 12 to 15 years. In my opinion though, goats may be the weakest animal you can obtain because they only have one thing they can produce and they're not even the best at it. If you like goats or are desperate in need for milk, go ahead and pick up goats, but if not, I would just wait for this next animal. And the animal I'm referring to is cows. Cows are unlocked at 3,500 tech points and can be purchased in Gustovia once you have built a cowshed. Cows cost 4,500 coins for adults and 2,250 for calves. The only resource cows produce is milk, but they are more efficient at it than goats. Calves mature after 2 years of age and have a lifespan of 18 to 23 years. Finally, the Apiary is unlocked at 5,000 tech points and gives you the ability to produce honeycomb. Honeycomb can be used as a food source or to produce meat in a tavern. The nice thing about the Apiary is that you don't need to buy bees, they will just naturally come. Now that we've gone over all of the animals, let's go over a couple general tips that will help you in your animal husbandry journey along the way. But first, I'm going to graciously ask that you pay the king's tax of 1 like or 1 sub. Starting with tip 1. If you have animal breeders in your building, they will passively pick up resources and place them in the corresponding storage buildings, but they don't actually clean up after the animals. This means you can gain a little bit of extra resources by picking up manure, eggs, feathers, wool, and honey manually from the animal sheds. And while pigs are the only animals that passively produce manure, manure can be picked up from many of the animal sheds if you are in need. Tip 2. Roosters and ganders do not produce eggs, so once you've filled your shed up with chickens, consider selling off any males if you have more than one, and restocking on females for extra resources. Same goes with cows and goats for milk. Tip 3. If you want to have more animals to breed faster, having more males increases the chance to breed each season. Each animal has around 15 to 20% chance to breed every season, assuming you have at least 1 male and 1 female. And some of these animals can have 1 to 3 babies each season. Tip 4. When your animal reaches the end of their lifespan, you can sell them to gain a bit of extra coin that you wouldn't get if they passed due to old age. So why not make some money out of it? And tip 5, if you want to know how to properly make use out of all of that manure you have, check out my farming guide where I walk you through the best ways to farm your fields. There's a lot of information here regarding animals, so if you have any questions or if I missed anything, feel free to leave a comment, and consider checking out my other videos for more Medieval Dynasty tutorials. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care.